Welcome to another episode 16 of Flag Stays Down podcast. Full house again tonight, Andy, Parker, and Matt. We'll start by just going around the horn. Matt, how you doing today?
Doing good. Got some stuff down, around the house and just relaxing on a Sunday. And I don't have to work this week, so I couldn't be better. Parks, how you doing?
Quite the opposite. I just came from a bar. I have to work all week, and it's the busiest time of the year for me. So drunk, happy-ish. We drew, obviously, so can't be too happy, but drunk. So, there you go. What's up with you, Collins?
I wish I wasn't the sober one tonight, but here I am. So I got to get going real quick, and also found out I'm real far behind on my advent calendar from Mobcraft Brewing. So I'm hoping to catch up on the 6 I'm behind during this podcast. So Thought After Dark should be a good one.
Looking forward to it.
How is that advent calendar?
It's decent. I got one. Let's see. This is 2 days ago. Glazed over, nice imperial cream made with donuts, honey, cinnamon, and vanilla. Looking forward to that one. And I also have a imperial stout sour. Sounds terrible.
I don't know how to feel about that.
I'm actually the opposite. It actually sounds really good.
I'll save this one for you then.
I can't wait to give you guys your Christmas gifts, which is beer for both of you. So I can't wait to do that.
Oh, amen.
Cheers. All right. Well, let's go from a happy note to a shitty note. How about that?
Perfect.
So 2 matches, Thursday and Sunday, come away with a total of 2 points. First, a 1-1 draw on Thursday at home against Everton. Mason Mount scoring for Chelsea in the 70th minute. And then today, 0-0 in a game that I have lots of opinions on, and I hope you guys do too, at the Molineux against Wolves. So let's just start by general thoughts here. The Everton is kind of in the back of my mind right now. I haven't really thought about it in a while. So if you guys want to chime in on that one, certainly do, and then we'll loop back around. Parker, you want to start?
Sure. The Everton match it was very frustrating. I know we gave up a late goal. It should have been one in the first 15 minutes. Just chance after chance after chance that goes astray. And Matt, I know you'll talk about this. I'm sure you will. Can we survive without a striker? And if there's any match that will prove your point, it's this one. We couldn't put the ball away, and it's just so frustrating to watch. Just relentless attack over and over that doesn't result in goals. And then, of course, Everton scores on the random free kick that they pick up, and then it was Bramwaith or whatever his name is. He kind of goes unmarked at the back and sneaks one in. So, man, those are the ones that hurt you. Those are the ones that you feel, and it truly feels like drop points, and it feels like a loss to us, and it just tough to stomach. So, I'm with you, Collins. I quickly repressed that memory, and I quickly tried to forget about it and worked closer to what's next. But that's where those are my thoughts on the Everton match. What about you, Matt?
I think we're getting into a habit, which I don't like, of repressing a match and looking ahead to the next one, because it's been that chaotic for the last probably 2.5, 3 weeks. In a match against Everton, when you own possession, I think we were within the 70 to 80 range of possession, and you can't do anything with it, and you have golden opportunities presented to you multiple times. Parker, you nailed it. It should have been 3-0 in the first 15 minutes. And then even before half, probably could have been, 5-0 or 5-1, arguably. And then we had chances in the second half. We just have to put something away. And obviously with the COVID protocols that are in place, with positive tests, with the surge that we've seen in the Premier League, I like, we all understand what has to happen, but we had previously talked about, what do we do without Rom and Timo? Well, now we don't have Rom, Timo, and Kai. So where does that what does that leave us with? And the fact that we're relying on Mason Mount for everything, it brings me back to Mourinho's third stint at Chelsea after he got fired, and then Gus Hiddink came in, and all of a sudden, and that was the year that I think we finished 10th in the league, and Willian was our only good player of the season, and we relied on him for every single goal, and it was usually off a free kick. It brings back memories of that. It seems like we're only relying on Mason Mount to come up with something miraculous, or to score that goal, make that assist, whatever the case is. And it's I don't like it with the amount of talent that we have up top. We should be able to sustain what we're going through, what a lot of Premier League teams are going through. We should be able to sustain it with the talent that we have, but right now we are not, and that's an issue.
So heard you talk about Timo and Rom and Kai being out. Have I changed your mind, or has the team changed your mind now? Throw back to last week. Striker is our immediate need.
No. How do you combat that? So my question to you then, Collins, are you gonna overpay for a striker who's gonna end up being your fourth choice on the bench?
Here's the thing, I'm not gonna overpay. As I've said in multiple episodes, Luka Jovic, 20 mil from Madrid. He was on the score sheet this year.
A bench player? When you have Rom, Timo, and Kai, which obviously under Tuchel, those would be your starting three. And then Jovic would be the fourth. So are you really going to pay 20 mil for somebody to sit on the bench?
20 mil is chump change at Chelsea. Absolutely.
Right now we have a $50 million false nine in Pulisic, and I've been team Pulisic all year. I've been genuinely impressed with his movement and what he's created. And in the past two matches, he's had golden opportunities to score, and he has not scored. And it is finally the time where I say, where I hear people's criticisms of him and have to agree, because he missed chances. He missed really golden chances in the past two matches, and it's hard to see. It's hard to see that boy get free and be one-on-one with the keeper and miss, or have it be saved. And Pickford, I give Pickford a lot of credit. Pickford had probably one of his best matches, and he's a phenomenal keeper. So I give him a lot of credit, at least in the Everton match. But against Wolves too, man, we had a couple of really good chances and just didn't go our way. So I think he has to shoulder a lot of that blame in the past couple matches.
Yeah, Christian, it's been tough to stomach. Was he, at the time of recording here, it was 24 hours ago, he was named U.S. Men's National Player of the Year. And oh my God, it hurts to then watch him shit the bed today against Wolves. Wide open chance. Kai Havertz special. All he had to do was chip the keeper, didn't chip him enough. And, you just see the fan base go off. Like, dude, you're making the rest of us look bad.
In his defense, and if we throw Timo into this equation, how many times does he get his shot blocked? Every single time. So I would assume that Timo would have gotten the same thing. And to be fair to Christian, it was just an outstretched arm. If it's 6 inches lower, that's going in, and he would have been fine. And we would be having a completely separate conversation. It kind of falls into what is Christian's best role. And the three of us, we've talked about this extensively. And a false nine to me doesn't seem like it suits Christian that well. He's a very direct player. He's not somebody that's going to draw people out. He's somebody that's going to make runs and go direct at people. And I think that's just the wrong. I think him as a false nine is the wrong spot for him.
Yeah, and we saw it in this match. There would be times where, Matt, you and I were commenting that the squad looked very fluid. No one really knew where they were supposed to go, and they even commented on that during the match. Ziyech was in the midfield at times. Reece James was a forward. It was all very strange. The times when Christian actually got out onto the left is when he looked most dangerous, and that I think that is his best position, is out on the wing, because he's a guy who works outside in. He can't do the inside in. He can't do the false nine. He can't hold up play. He can certainly make the runs that Timo makes, but he's not strong enough to get onto the end of them. I think putting him in that false nine is kind of setting him up for failure. But I am interested to know, who do you guys put in as that false nine, assuming that we have to continue with this due to positive COVID tests?
Yeah, today was a hard one. I mean, we only had 5 players on our bench that made even the trip to Wolves. So we were clearly contending with issues, and it made for our team selection. It was very limited. I mean, I looked at the 8 players that were out today, either due to injury or due to COVID. I think those 8 players alone could beat a lot of teams. It just was hilarious to see, Rom, Timo, Chills, a bunch of really solid players on that list. And so I don't know, man. I don't think Tuchel had a lot to work with. Is Pulisic the best out of all of that? Probably. But I would have loved to see him on the left wing. I would have liked to see Mason maybe play that center role, because I think he can do a little bit better, be a little bit more physical in there. And you're right, Collins. I think when Christian got down the left side, it was probably his most productive. But all in all, we weren't. We were talking more about the Contes and the Silvas and the Rudigers of the world in this match versus our forwards, because we defended a lot. So I don't think our attacking players even got much of a chance because of the pressure we had on us. So it was a hard match. It was a hard to watch match. I mean, especially in the first half. I think the second half we got a lot together, but for 40 minutes of that first half, we were on the back pedal. So when you think about it like that, a 0-0 draw is a positive result. But yeah, it was a tough one, man.
Yeah, I think with the caliber of talent that we have, COVID, injury, whatever the case is, I do expect more out of our team, even with a Wolverhampton starting lineup. And this is going to be probably the biggest talking point of the pod. When the substitutions were made, when Saul came on, the man that we have all said should never step foot on the pitch in a Chelsea jersey again. He came in to the Jorginho-esque role. He did a great job. I feel like seeing him in this role versus every other time he's been brought in or he's had to start, he hasn't had the appropriate either partner in the midfield, or he hasn't been thrown in the right position to be able to do what he does best. I think we saw that today. As soon as he came on, he had a very Jorginho effect. If he were to be subbed on, he controlled the game. He slowed everything down. He was just that calming influence that I think that we needed. And I was thoroughly impressed with Saul today. Does this mean I think he should start every game? Absolutely not. But compared to everything else that we've seen from him and how harsh we have been, the Chelsea supporters have been on him, I think that he had himself a very, very good day. And with Jorginho struggling with his back injury, RLC, he's kind of got a little bit of a knock. So does now Chalaba, he went out too. Obviously you have Conte and Kova coming back, but like I just think that Saul can kind of fit that mold. He seemed to do a very good job controlling that midfield, which is something that I think we were lacking desperately in that first half.
Yeah, more of
that. Parker, go ahead.
I was just gonna say we've talked a lot about Ross on this podcast before, and we praise Ross, but Ross wouldn't have been the right man for this job. I think he provides some attack, but with Conte kind of floating up in our attack, it wouldn't have been a good thing. It wouldn't have been the right sub. So Saul was the right move. I think he did a good job, and he by far had his best match in Chelsea jersey. I'm a critic of him, but I'm not afraid to say that. He definitely had that calming influence, and I hope it continues. I think we all, if you rewind our podcast, we all wanted him to be great. We all looked at him as a good player and could fit really well in this midfield. We just haven't seen it yet, and it's the first glimpse. And maybe that defensive midfielder role with a more attacking Conte in there, it is good for him. But to me, the highlight of the match was Conte. I love seeing him back. It made me happy. He was everywhere. He shows up everywhere. I love seeing him on the ball, and I love seeing him making some of those dipping, where he dips his shoulder and kind of takes people on a little bit more, attacking, and can get by a couple people and then make something happen. It was just wonderful to see him back. That was my big takeaway, positive moment of this match against Wolves. I could care less about the point. We're getting some people healthy. We saw Kova, we saw Conte, and that to me is just positive going forward.
Just one more quick point on Saul, because I just looked it up here. He's played now 5 matches for Chelsea. Started in I believe it was two now. His partner in those games, even when he was playing left back for the couple substitution appearances, his midfield partner, so to speak, was Jorginho in 3 of those, and Kova, and then RLC. So, if we're saying that he steps into that Jorginho role, he becomes kind of a redundancy on the pitch. I can see why he was struggling. The way the Tuchel midfield works is you have the point man or the pivot man as the holding mid, and then you have another one more in attack. If Saul is going to be a Jorginho, then I think going forward he needs to be playing with a Conte or with a Kova. And playing with Jorginho is just going to cause problems. So I was very impressed with him today. I know going back to episode 1 here, I said he was the transfer of the season. Very poor choice. But he's a capped Spanish international. He's played in the Champions League final. He's got countless La Liga matches under his belt. Just like with Kai, just like with Timo, there was going to be that adjustment period. I'm hoping, and Saul has done it to me before here, but I'm hoping that this has been a turning point for him, and I'm hoping that going forward he can be an asset to the team, especially with our seeming lack of depth at the moment. I think him being the player that he could be is something that's going to turn this shitty month of December into hopefully an above average January.
Yeah, I really think that with Saul's performance, if he is going to be that second tier Jorginho, and then that would free up RLC, that frees up Kova, that frees up Conte. Like it just opens everything up. When you put both of them together, it doesn't make sense. Saul at a left back, well, we kind of saw what can happen against Everton when you throw him at a left back. It's not his strong point, but granted, we're facing some issues and you got to make do with what you got. But, my biggest takeaway is Kova. And Collins, you and I talked about this. The fact that he's able to just come in, and if he doesn't have a pass, like Jorginho always is going to look for that pass. So was Saul. Any defensive midfielder, they're going to look for that link-up pass. If he doesn't have one, he's going to sprint through and create his own lane to go through and then find options that way. That's what he brings. That is a lot different. I think RLC has a little bit of that, but Kova does it to absolute perfection. And having him back to create his own opportunities to free up other people, I think that is invaluable. Conte, love seeing him. We all love him to death. As much as I love him for his defensive prowess, I don't like him in attack. It's not somebody who, if we're trying to do link-up play in the final third, I don't trust Conte on the ball. He's not like a finesse player by any means, right? He's just somebody he's got one goal, get the ball, and that's it. So that's the only thing I kind of struggle with Conte, is how, like, he gets far forward for the press, and I get that. But then when you try to utilize him in attack, there's not really a benefit gain there. So, but all things considered, I love seeing him back there because he had a great match. He played the full 90, and I am ecstatic to see him back out there on the pitch doing N'Golo Kante things.
Interesting you say that. I thought our best attacks came down the right side. It was interplay between James, Conte, and Mount, typically, that led to a good ball in or a cross or something positive. I thought, like, 3 or 4 times I saw myself saying, like, it not necessarily was all Conte, but it definitely involved him, Mount, and James were our best attacking threats. And I don't think it was necessarily Conte going forward, but I think Conte did a lot to help that as well. So maybe I'm stretching in my thoughts and analysis here, but, like, I don't know, I just thought, like, the link up between those three created the most things for us going forward.
Well, because he's taken the ball from the opposing team so high up the pitch, and in an ideal Tuchel world, Conte isn't the creator in that. He's the guy who's going to get the ball, get it to Reece, get it to Mace, get it to whoever's there. Ideally, you have, with the wing backs, 5 people in attack at any given time. So Conte gets the ball, distributes. He doesn't have to march into the box and create his own shot or anything like that. But with the state of things as they are right now, that's kind of what we have to rely on. So I can see where Tuchel's coming from in that. It certainly creates chaos, but it's just another person on the pitch who isn't a clinical finisher,
which was our biggest issue.
And has been for a while. So how do we fix that? Who needs to be in that false 9? Who needs to be in that attack that we can start scoring some goals? Because right now it looks like we may not score until February.
With the way our offense is going, I'll say it. I'll go out on a limb. Throw Ross up top. You need somebody who's a bit of a bigger body up top to go against the center backs. Mount doesn't have that. Pulisic doesn't have that. Ziyech doesn't have that. You need a little bit of a bigger, more substantial body to go up against that. Ross, as a central midfielder in this system, he plays too slow. He just does. We saw that against Everton. Like, he's trying to be way too technical. He's trying to do way too much. He's more of a flashy player than a link-up player. But you need a big body up there. You do. And I think, Collins, you and I were watching the game today, and we were just like, and I think one of the commentators said, why are you crossing, or you found it on Twitter, why are we crossing the ball into the box with attackers that can't even get on a roller coaster? Like, you need some sort of big body up there. And I think Ross would fit that. He would be kind of like an Olivier Giroud in that regard. I think that he would kind of fill that role nicely. It would be kind of like that false nine that we've talked about. And then that gives Mason, that gives Christian, that gives Ziyech. It gives them an opportunity to be a little bit more creative in what they do. So I like that as a false nine option.
Yeah, I've got two things here for you. Number one, I'd like to create a drinking game, and every time Matt compares somebody to Olivier Giroud, listener needs to take a drink. And number two, I don't disagree with Ross being a solid option, but has he done something? Did he like shoot Tuchel's dog? Like, he was so hot for so long, and now he can't even get on the pitch when we have legitimately 4 outfield players on the bench. Tuchel made 2 subs today, and Barkley still couldn't find his way on the pitch.
When was he so hot for so long?
He had that like 3-game stretch where we were like, oh, Ross, he's back, right?
I don't know.
So long. He had a nice little stretch there, but
like, unless you're taking Conte off, I don't see where he fits in. I mean, he plays midfield. He's got one of 2 sort of positions, and I said earlier, I think when Trev came off, Trev picked up a little bit of a knock, and he wasn't moving, as well. So I think the sub for him was necessary, not necessarily like tactical, right? I think Saul fits a more defensive role than Ross does. Are you taking Conte off for him? Like,
no, but in this situation, that we've seen it before, as Barkley as that false nine. Put him in for Christian, who touched the ball 39 times in 90 minutes.
And who was visibly tired. Like, he was just kind of slowly trotting back. Like, you could see at about the 70th minute, he was tired. And granted, he's been covering a lot of pitch, so I don't fault him for that, but he's doing everything he can. But you need some sort of a different change. And yeah, moving him out to the wing, it helped. But I think you needed a much different look up top, and I think him for Pulisic might have been a better option.
I think that's the only option that would have made sense, Collins. And I don't know if that's on Tuchel's mind to put Ross there. The thing I'll say about Pulisic after I shit all over him was he did make a lot of really good runs. The service was not there for those runs, but he did make a lot of really good runs. It just ended up usually in the keeper's hands and not at his feet or head or whatever. So he did work hard. He did put in a good shift. I just he's our 4th best option as a false 9 or a 9. I mean, we're missing Timo, we're missing Ram, we're missing Kai. So I think he's serviceable as a 4th option, but right now we have options 1 through 3 out for various reasons, which hurts, and it shows up on the score sheet when we can't score against Wolverhampton.
Which, again, I would put Mount in that false 9. I would put him there. He's more creative. Like, he's going to draw defenders. He's our leading goal scorer this season. Obviously, people are going to key in on him when he gets the ball, and he's creative enough to be able to link up and do those types of things. Christian is not. He's all of 5'7", maybe 5'8" on a good day. Like, he's not going to be able to do a ton. And unfortunately, as much as this pains me to say it, he's always looking for the foul. He just is. And you need somebody who's going to be a little bit stronger up there in that false 9 role. And I don't think that Christian fits it. just because of the runs that he makes and how direct that he plays. I think you need Mason. You need Mason as that false nine. You need Christian on the left or Christian on the right, and then Ziyech on the left or right, however you want to set that up. But I just think that there has to be a different false nine option than just Christian.
If you think of it in regards to like a puzzle, I think there's only one way to line up those front three, because that's all you have for the front three at the moment until we start getting some negative COVID tests here. But Ziyech, who also is one of your hottest players, scoring goals, racking up assists, you need him on the right with that left foot. You saw how many times today he got on the ball and playing on the left, and then immediately, tried to change the way he was going. And it was very, very readable for Wolves. So you put Ziyech on the right, Christian on the left so he can cut in. And then, Mace playing centrally, not even as a 9. You can really have him play as a 10 if you want.
Yeah, I mean, Ziyech, I don't think I really heard his name that much. He didn't get a lot of touches. He didn't have a great game. He was just kind of a body out there, and just so that we could field an 11. That's what it seemed like from my perspective. Obviously, him being set up on that left side, that's not his forte, to be set up on that left. But yeah, I didn't see a great game out of Ziyech, and whether that's on Tuchel, whether that's on Ziyech, who knows? But I would have expected a little bit more out of Ziyech today, and I just didn't see it.
I agree with you, Matt. I thought him and Alonso in attack were just lost, and our best attack, as I said before, our best attacks were down on the right. One thing that I think Wolves did well was when Mount did get the ball, they closed him down fast and hard and brought bodies to him. They kind of did the Eden Hazard treatment a little bit with him, and they basically said, have someone else beat me, but it's not going to be Mason Mount. And it kind of showed, it showed that he's our guy right now, and we've kind of been riding the hot hand, and no one else was willing to step up and be the guy. No one else was willing to step up and take a chance and put a goal away. So I give him credit, because when Mount, he just was swarming. He just had people all around him, and it was frustrating as a fan to see it. But I think he was probably frustrated too. But that's one thing I noticed during the match. So we need someone else. We need to have a balanced attack. I think we're our best when you don't necessarily know where the goals are coming from. You don't know if it's coming down the left, down the right, if it's going to be crossed in, or if it's going to be a take on. That's when we're at our best, is when we have that balanced attack. We just didn't have as balanced of a squad today.
We're now 2 weeks away from January, so I'm going to keep peppering you guys with transfer what ifs here. In a match like this, in a time where you very clearly need squad depth, would Eden Hazard have made a difference?
No.
Fuck out of here.
Get out of here. No, you get out of here.
All right, deuces.
GTFOH award winner for the pod, Andy Collins.
Oh yeah, by the way, congratulations. I'm about to go up on my soapbox here. Congratulations to the Premier League for winning our Man of the Get the Fuck Out of Here award today. What fucking bullshit. I need to mark this episode as explicit. What fucking bullshit this is today. Spurs are off for 3 goddamn weeks because they have, 9-10 players in COVID protocol. They have one of the largest squads in the league. But no, they don't have to play their Europa League matches. They don't have to play their Premier League matches. Meanwhile, we have 4.5 fucking people on our bench today. 2 keepers, one who I don't think he's played in the league in several years, in Marcus Bettinelli, and then Kepa, and then you got fucking Malang Sarr, Ross Barkley, and so Tuchel asks, "Oh, hey, can we postpone this match?" No, we can't. But no, Spurs, yeah, you're okay. Take 3 weeks off. That's fine. If we're talking about health and safety of the players, And we all know that COVID right now is ravaging Britain. And you have a team where literally a third of the squad tests positive for COVID, and they allowed this match to go on is utter horseshit. The Mourinho, Roman, whoever, Tuchel needs to go to the league and protest this match was even played. This match needs to be replayed because it's utter horseshit.
Also, to tack onto that, which by the way, Colin's great rant. I fucking love it. The fact that almost every single game yesterday, so Saturday, was postponed. Almost every single game was postponed, except for I think one game. I think there were slated to be 6 total, but I think only 1 was played and 5 were postponed. And you know what's going on, but yet on Sunday, you're okay with, yeah, let's play what we have. To me, it comes down to a dollars game, and obviously the 3 of us, we know about the American sports, we know about baseball, we know about basketball, we know about football, American football. It's all just about money, and can you fill up the airways, and can you put asses in seats? That's just the way that it goes. And I think now that the Premier League, knowing the hit that they took last year, which I think for at least NBC was probably in the, I can't remember the number offhand, but it was in the hundred of millions that they took a hit. And Premier League clubs, I think they took a hit of about 60 to 80 mil a pop, like for ticket sales and everything like that. Like it all comes down to dollars, and they're going to do whatever they can to make that dollar back, especially after last year. They're going to do everything that they can. And it's not right. But looking at football across the world, when has anything ever been right? I mean, that's honestly the argument. Like, when has anything ever been true, honest, and just? It's never been the case. So I'm not surprised. But then you have the fact that Tottenham played today against Liverpool. Really? Okay. And then you have Jurgen Klopp coming out saying, yeah, if we do sign somebody for transfer, they have to be vaccinated. Like, that's rule number 1 before we even look at anybody. Like, I don't blame them, but at the same time, it's like, well, what the hell is going on?
Fabrizio Romano put out this week the big 5 leagues in Europe and their vaccination rates, and it was 90 to 95 for 4 out of the 5. Guess which league was at 68%? It was the Premier League. I stay out of the conversation, the vaccination conversation. It's too much of a hassle to talk to anybody about it. But I do like the way the NFL does it. I like the way Major League Baseball does it, where you have the numbers you have to be at. And if you reach that number, then yes, games can be postponed, games can be, delayed, items like that. But if it's not, then there's a financial issue. I don't know Chelsea's vaccination numbers. I don't know any of that. I assume that they're not great. But, set a standard. X% of your club comes down to the positive case. Okay, we're going to push your game off. The fact that it's just picking and choosing, and seemingly Chelsea always gets fucked, bothers the hell out of me.
It makes me laugh because I think so many people would look at like our Lille draw and they're like, oh, we drew Lille twice. What were the chances of us drawing Lille twice in the Champions League round of 16? Obviously, we bribe people and obviously we get the best results. And then, of course, like a week later, this happens to us. And people realize quickly, like, oh, maybe it's just the way things go sometimes. Collins, you talk about vaccine, not vaccine. This isn't a political podcast by any means. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter if you're vaccinated or not. You can still catch COVID. You can still get the Omicron variant or any other variants that you're collecting in your sticker book. And it doesn't matter if you test positive for the coronavirus, any of them, you have to sit out X amount of days. What I would really like to see is a percentage-based system where if X percent, like you said, are testing positive, then a match gets postponed. And I would also like to see a league-wide thing where if like 40% of the matches aren't going on, then we're going to take a break. You know, we're going to isolate, we are going to bubble, do something. But this case by case, it's just frustrating and it feels unfair. And when you see things like Tottenham getting 3 weeks off, it just doesn't feel like it's right. And Chelsea obviously have a deep squad. We talk about our depth. I looked at our team sheet today against Wolves. It's still a pretty freaking good team. It's still a squad, man. Like, this team should still win matches. And that's what's frustrating is I watched this match today thinking, should this match be played? Probably not. But we still should win this match. Like, we still should. We have all the capabilities in the world to win this match. And we didn't, and that's fine. And I saw positives, and that's debatable, and that's all good. But when you talk about from a league standpoint, like, what's the right thing to do? It's probably not this. You know, I would like more consistency, and we've talked about this a lot. It's better definitions of things, more rules, and more structure about what happens if, when, and things like that, where at least we know what's going on, or at least it's not like, hey, we protest and someone randomly decides if we play the match or not. Like, that seems unfair. It seems arbitrary, and it just doesn't feel fair. So, man, I wish we were done with this. That's all, man. I wish we were done with this. I thought we were, and here we are.
So
You hit a spot on, Parks. Like, consistency. If we're gonna sum up the one thing that the Premier League needs, it's consistency from teams, how they get paid out, officiating, protocols, VAR, everything. Like, literally just spread it across the board. Consistency. They don't have it. They really just don't. And I think that's frustrating. When you look at other leagues, they have some sort of consistency to them. The Premier League doesn't, because they know that they're the ones making all the money. If you look at other clubs like the Bundesliga, if you look at La Liga, whatever, sure, you can put up ticket sales and jersey sales and everything like that, but who's got the best broadcasting rights out of any of the leagues? It's the Premier League. And that's what they thrive on, is being able to put on matches and get their numbers, get their ratings, and be able to supply that. That's the whole thing. And to me, the fact that you cancel 5 matches on a Saturday out of the 6 that were supposed to be played, and then you still go on with matches on Sunday, even though you've known about this outbreak for about a week and a half, that's just bad on them. It's just poor. I don't understand. Well, I wouldn't say I don't understand, but I understand, but at the same time, it's horseshit. It really is. And this is not just, as I'm sure all 3 of us will agree, this is not just as a Chelsea fan. This is just as a sports fan, somebody who cares about the players, their well-being, and like, it's just wrong. It really is. And I don't see any way that it can continue. I would not be surprised if they continue with Boxing Day with only 2 matches. I wouldn't be surprised.
So the thing that makes me most mad about this, and yes, consistency is the big one, but you have to think Chelsea have known about their COVID issues for, let's see, when did that break? Like Thursday, that they had 5. Yeah, it was before the Everton match. They had 5 positive tests. So, you're traveling away to Wolves on Sunday and you have more tests come up. You would think that the club would have been in contact with the league prior to that. But it's a safe assumption. Leeds also had an outbreak this week and fielded a bench made up entirely of their U23s against Arsenal. We had 6 players. Something tells me that Chelsea were under the impression that this would be postponed. And then I don't know if it's first come, first serve with postponements or something, but something happened is my guess, that the league came in late and said, no, which would lead to Tuchel
reeks of it, right? You would think that we would have U23 players that would have been able to be on the bench in this game. And something really reeks of miscommunication or a lack of decision making, or a lead on for decision making, whatever you want to call it. Something reeks of that, because I looked at a bench and I was like, what?
Well,
I'm 100% with you.
The U23s are done. They're on a winter break. So even if you're worried about player bubbles and all that, they're done. They don't play again until mid to late January. So there's nothing stopping any club from bringing their U23s with them. Something reeks here, and of course it's the Premier League. I guess that's that's how I'd like to end that statement.
Yeah, and I would like to end talking about COVID now.
All right, so let's wrap that up here in an overall blanket statement. Based on 2 points this week and kind of a shitty December, are we concerned for the rest of the season? Where do you guys think we're going to end up finishing?
I would still say top 4. I still think that we're legitimate top 4 with a fully healthy squad. Obviously we've talked about it. December is always rough historically. It's always rough. It's always brutal. And then you throw in the injuries that we've had. You throw in, obviously, the COVID situation. I still think we're definitely a top 4 club. So I don't see any issues with that. However, if I'm Thomas Tuchel, I'm prioritizing Champions League over anything else, because I personally think that Premier League, after whatever happens in December, might be kind of a lost cause, especially with the way that City and Liverpool are playing right now. I really don't see them dropping points. Obviously, Liverpool and Tottenham drew 2-2 today, but you still have to catch Man City. And all they're doing is catching up on goal differential at this point. They've won their last 2 games 11, combined 11-0. It's hard to beat a team like that unless Rudy takes out Kevin De Bruyne, which could happen. But anyways, yeah, I think that Thomas Tuchel has to make a shift to prioritize the Champions League and reclaiming that title over the Premier League.
I think we are the 3rd best team in the league when fully healthy. I think it depends on if we have the ability to stay healthy. I think we have issues. I think the Chills injury, like we said last week, really shined a light on some of our issues. And it's tough to predict when things happen and our team has to shift and kind of adapt. Unfortunately, if we're the best team in the league when healthy and we're never healthy, it doesn't matter. You play a 38 match season, and it's a collection of all 38 matches. The first match is as valuable as the last one. It's not a playoff system. It doesn't matter if we get healthy by the playoffs. You see it in hockey, you see it in baseball. If you have a healthy team in hockey or baseball, you can ride them. You can ride starting pitching. You can ride goalies to the Stanley Cup and MLB. You know, it's so different. So unfortunately, I don't think we have the consistency to win the league. I don't think we have the consistency to be top 3. I could see us dropping out of that. Right now, I think we're kind of in that position to be 4th, but I can see things happening. I can see us falling out of form, which is hard to say, but sort of the truth of what I've seen over the past couple of weeks. And it's tough. People bring their best at us, and we've seen sort of teams like Leeds where they're also injured and they don't bring their best 11, and they still, you know, give it to us a little bit. So I think it's a top 6 finish for us. Then where we finish in cups and other things is much different. And Matt, to your point, like, we can manage to that. We can manage to win the FA Cup and to go far in the Champions League, but the league is harder. That's the grueling battle where it's a little bit trickier. So I think Tuchel needs to also focus on the league, because I think if he takes his eye off of it, we're going to fall out of the top 4. That's kind of my prediction, which hurts and would be a bad sort of mark on him.
Yeah, Parker, I agree. I think we're solidly the 3rd best team in the league, and I think that's where we're going to end up. I look at the teams ahead of us, City and Liverpool. I don't see us catching either. I think that match against Liverpool, if it gets played on New Year's, is going to be a pretty crucial match to that. But then I look at the teams below us, and you got Arsenal, West Ham United, Tottenham. Honestly, none of those teams scare me. I think at the end of the day, those teams are going to beat up on each other so much that as long as we maintain some inkling of a form, I think we maintain 3rd. And I guess the reason that I say that is you look at the goal differentials this year, and outside of the top 3, no one has more than a +10 goal differential. It's us, Liverpool, and City. And I think once we get back to being fully healthy, that gets back to being pretty sustainable, and we lock in that top 3 position.
So I think for me, the biggest thing, and I went on record, I said, you know, it looks like we have a cake schedule on paper in December, but I'm worried about it. I said that right away. And look where we are, right? And I'm kind of excited for the fact that we still have to play City again. We have to play Liverpool again. I'm not excited about our official against Liverpool, but we have to play all these teams again. So it does give us a chance to at least draw back some points. I mean, Arsenal, yeah, they're on an upswing, but we know they collapse late. Just ask any Tottenham fan. It's just one of those things. So I'm not worried about like a top 4 finish. I'm really not. But I think for Tuchel, his priority should be, you are the reigning Champions League winner. You are not the reigning Premier League winner. Who won the Premier League last year? Is that City or Liverpool?
City.
And we beat them in the final of the Champions League. So, you know, it comes down to what actually means more. To me, I think you want to defend your throne as the Champions League winner, and you kind of go on from that. FA Cup, Carabao Cup, whatever, like, sure, fine. But I'm more than content with a top 4 finish, and then putting our efforts towards the Champions League.
And Matt, you were spot on a couple weeks ago when you talked about December's schedule, and you talked about how teams play up against us. I also kind of wonder if we play up against teams and we play down against lower end of the table teams. But I'm looking at January's schedule right now. Woo, yikes. Liverpool on January 2nd, FA Cup match. Then you're going to have a potential Carabao Cup semifinal. And then you have City and Spurs, and that's your month. So hopefully we're a team that plays up, because that is one hell of a deciding month right there.
That's where we're going to figure out what we're made of. Like, we really are. And I'm really intrigued for the Liverpool match, especially because the first time we played them had weird circumstances. Reece James, red card, handball, that whole thing, and then a penalty. It was a strange match. And so I'm really intrigued to see like a 11 on 11 who can duke it out match against us versus Liverpool. I think that's going to be telling. I think it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be kind of end to end. And
it's the same official doing the exact same match.
Anthony Taylor.
Who cares? I'm so sick of fucking official talk on Twitter. It's so dumb. No one can do anything about it. And all we have to say is, oh, so-and-so is officiating the match and whatever. I'm so sick of it.
If you'd like to hear what we think about officials, please go back and listen to Pod After Dark from last week. Great episode.
God, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of official talk.
And, well, another thing exciting about that Liverpool match is we're going to have our second ever guest on. Our friend Joe Mach, big Liverpool fan. Haven't decided if he's coming on for a preview or a review. Might be better to have him on for a preview. But excited for that one. So look forward to that in the coming weeks.
Joe Mach, if you're listening, hi, I miss you.
My friend
Joe Mach is a very good friend of ours. Him and I share the same last name. We're not related, but it's always good to hear from him, see him, talk to him. Great guy, minus the fact that he's a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, he's still a friend of the pod, even though he's a Liverpool fan, which should tell everybody that out there what kind of man he actually is. So
yes,
godfather to my son. So there we go. All right. Well, with that, we are pushing up against the hour here. This has been an episode that's flown by. A lot of good talk. So, hopefully we if matches are played this week, we got some good things to talk about next week. If not, it'll just be Pod After Dark until the league resumes, right?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yes, we can.
All right, boys. Well, again, hopefully we're talking good things next Sunday, and if not, I'm sure we'll also have good things to talk about, right?
Collins, where can they find us?
Oh, thank you. Wow. First time I forgot all year. I'll take a drink for that. So you can find us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at FlagDownPod. First time listening, please subscribe, rate, and review. Even if you're listening for the 16th time, subscribe, rate, and review. You can find us on Anchor, Google, Apple, Spotify. Again, just search Flag Stays Down podcast. And of course, anytime you hear Flag Stays Down on an episode, feel free to tag us on social, or not on an episode, on Premier League match. Feel free to tag us. We always enjoy hearing those, especially when it's Arlo White.
Except when it results in a goal against Chelsea.
Hey, the flag almost stayed down today with Wolves. So
hey, either way, we still drink.
The flag did stay down, and then it didn't. So that was a celebratory drink. I took a celebratory shot this morning, so that was fun.
The flag stayed down for a little bit.
20 some seconds later, the flag went up, and God, did we need it.
Amen. Great place to end. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.